Hey YouTubers, this is your resident crazy Jack here. Now, like I said previously, I'm still trying to get everything together as far as scheduling is concerned. At least I'm still pumping out vids. So here we go. Here's today's topic. A little geek review of a movie that I just witnessed. Is I know I'm going to get flack about this, but I finally saw Moana, and I gotta tell you, it's a pretty good, fresh take on the whole princess story nowadays. You got Moana, who is a chieftain's daughter, and lo and behold, that makes her a princess technically, because in the old Polynesian ways, the chieftain's daughter is deemed princess material because chieftains are like king. But anyway, the fresh thing about it is that she is not slated to be married off, nor is she slated to become chief because she's getting married. And that is not really discussed much in most Disney princess movies. So with that in mind, I think that they were trying to do an animated Polynesian version of the Princess Diaries Part 2 Royal Engagement, where Princess Mia was now declared eligible according to Parliament of Genovia that she could be queen and yet not be married, which is cool. And I think that is finally showing equality in certain aspects of social life. It's like here in America, we believe that you could still be a powerful woman, running your own company or running several companies and not be considered powerful because you're married. Kind of cool. So this is a new fresh take on the whole princess aspect. And the fact that she herself went on a kind of a sailing, quote unquote, road trip journey. And yes, she had a guy with her, but he was more of a, let's just say, psychic. But she was pretty much calling all the shots. And that's another fresh take, is that the princess in this movie is actually running the show. Excellent. The fact that she also saved her people, saved pretty much the world, and it was on her shoulders, and she accomplished it. Yes, she had help from a guy, but he was more of a pithy sidekick than anything else. And that is actually, once again, refreshing for a Disney flick. Usually when you have a princess movie and she's going on a voyage of discovery, then it makes it to where the guy that she has tag along usually overshadows and takes over the said journey and takes most of the glory away from the princess or any woman. And in this aspect, she gets all the glory, she gets all the accolades, and she becomes chief of her whole entire tribe. She gets the power, she gets the glory, and the pithy sidekick guy was basically comfortable with slinking back to the shadows. Like I said, pretty cutting edge stuff for Disney. And the only downside of the whole entire movie, which it's quite amazing how there's only one downside compared to most of the other Disney flicks that I have major problems with, is that Maui, the demigod, the guy, the big gigantic guy with all the tattoos and the big gigantic hook, the shapeshifter. Now, granted, the character is himself was pretty much like a Polynesian William Shatner. Always thinking that he's a demigod. He's done all these things, and he assumes that everybody is just a hero worshiper. And it's like, no, not Moana. She tries to set him straight. But the only bad aspect of Maui, granted he is a pompous, egotistical jackass, and who gives a fuck about any of those kind of guys, but the fact that he was voiced by Dwayne Johnson. Now, granted, the casting of him was adequate, but the character needed to go back to the drawing board. They needed to make him a little bit not as William Shatner jackassy. And the fact that it was Dwayne, a guy who usually is humble to a fault and usually is honorable to a fault, for him to play this kind of role kind of brings him down a little bit in my cool book. I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look at his characterizations and the rundown, Walking Tall, and hell, even the Scorpion King Part 1. He is honorable, humble, and yet heroic to a fault. But for him to be Maui in this one, it's like, what are you trying to do? Make yourself seem like a William Shatner on steroids, with the whole ego trip? It's like, dude, please tone it down a little bit at least. Like I said, he could have gone back to the drawing board as far as characterization. But he did redeem himself mostly, like maybe half the way, by actually slinking down to the shadows and allowing Moana to take all the credit. Because, fuck it, she was the one doing the bulk of the work, and the bulk of the heroic work at that. And let's just say, if it wasn't for Maui's jackassery, other than that, I was laughing, I was crying, I was feeling very sentimental, including the aspect of Moana's relationship with her grandmother. I mean, if anybody has any doubts about how you could be close to that person in your family, I could tell you without a shadow of a doubt, yes, those relationships do exist. That's the kind of relationship that I have with my great grandmother. I mean, she was in our family the family's nutcase, because she was able to do whatever the hell that she wanted to do, and yet she didn't care about what anybody else thought. So if anything else, yeah, that kind of relationship does exist. I could vouch. And that's the reason why I was crying through most of the film, is because with me and my relationship that I had with my Gigi, seeing it on screen in animated form was just really tugging at me. It's like, oh my God, I'm having a good flashback about how I kept on talking with my Gigi, and how she would always vouch for me and validate me and try to give me a self-esteem. God, I miss her so much. Sorry. Just by thinking about it and telling you guys about it is like bringing everything back. But, sorry, give me a minute here. Okay, so anyway, that is my geek review on Moana, and sorry it took me a long ass time to watch it, but up until like about 3 days ago, I pretty much, honest to say this, but I pretty much had zero ambition to even watch it. I had zero motivation to even watch it. But then to see a couple of things on YouTube, like 101 Facts or 10 Things You Didn't Know, it finally got my ass interested. And plus, on top of that, I also heard on Pandora the song "How Far It Goes," and it really piqued my interest to even watch the damn thing. And when I did, I could see why there was a lot of fuss, and I totally agree with all you guys. It is a very good movie. For like, I actually give it like a 85% if I was a member of, if I was part of the criteria basis or criteria committee for RottenTomatoes.com. I would give it an 85%. So maybe like a B plus. Could use a little bit of like